It's story times once again, and our story for today is about Reggie Queen of the Street by Margaret Barbalet, illustrated by Andrew McLean. Reggie had everything in the street worked out. There was someone to walk with and someone to throw a ball. Reggie loved Dog and Helen, but they were not keen on walks. They never threw a ball. Helen never forgot to feed Reggie, and Dog never forgot to pat her. They never forgot to let her in or let her out. "Little Queen, our very own Regina," they would whisper in a voice reserved for very loved dogs. At night, Reggie liked to lay in her own special spot in the study room, watching them read. But when it came to life in the dog world, Reggie always did that for herself. Every day she walked along the street, checking for messages on posts, and every day the big sheepdog ran to his gate and barked, "Woof, woof, woof!" And Reggie barked back, "Woof, woof, woof, woof!" Reggie was a small dog, but the whole street was hers. All the children were her friends. She even played cricket in the park. Then one day, everything changed. Dog and Helen packed up their books. They were moving. Reggie watched the children playing in the park as Dog and Helen drove away from her street. Why did they have to move? The new house was old and the garden was bigger. That evening, Helen set up Reggie's cane bed in the laundry. Dog gave her more dinner, but Reggie did not care. She woke up the next morning feeling low. Helen called her outside and walked around the garden, talking about what they would plant. Reggie did not hear. That night, she went to bed without touching her dinner. But sleep would not come. Late that night, Reggie went outside. She squeezed under the gate and walked up the hill. She could see the city below, dark and gold lit. It looked very, very far away. She set off down the hill. It took a long, long time to reach the city. Reggie wondered if she was lost, but she could smell the way. She just padded on and on and on. Dogs barked at her, "Woof, woof, woof!" Cats stared from behind fences. Cars flashing lights at her. Around midnight, Reggie began to smell her street. She bounced along, past all the houses, to the best one, home. But there was something terribly wrong. The garage and the back veranda had vanished. Reggie walked silently past the machine and around to the back of the house. The laundry door banged in the breeze. Newspapers danced on the floor in the strange light. Full of fear, Reggie slid inside. This was not home. This was a dark and shaky house. The wind slid through the windows where once glass had shone. Reggie hurried outside, her tail drooping. Somewhere she heard an ambulance. The sheepdog down the street began to howl with the siren. Oh! All the houses were dark. Reggie was really tired, but she would have to find her way back to her new home. She set off toward the hills. All she could think of was the house where Helen and Dog slept. Her legs took over and trotted on and on. After a long time, she began to think about her dinner still sitting in her own special bowl. Then she could think of nothing except walking. Toward dawn, after several wrong turns, she arrived at the new street. There was the house and its garden. She limped up the path, in through the back door, and slumped in her bed, too tired to even nibble at her dinner. When she awoke, Helen and Dog were kneeling beside her bed in their work clothes. Dog had a fresh dish of food. They patted her, smiling dog language. Late in the afternoon, Reggie went into the front garden carrying her ball in her mouth. Her legs hurt, but she waited. After a while, a bus came slowly up the hill. Every time it stopped, a child jumped off, sometimes 2 or 3. A short time later, the street was alive with children. Reggie crept under the gate and waited patiently. A boy stopped and bent down politely to Reggie's level. "Hello, Dog," he said. Reggie wagged her tail. 2 more children stopped. One girl put her hand on Reggie's collar and read the tag. "Reggie," the girl said. Reggie wagged her tail and trotted toward the park. A few bigger kids were just coming out with a cricket bat. Reggie sat on the outer field as she always did. By chance, the ball came her way. Reggie leaped. Reggie twisted. She caught it. The children stared as she had learned Reggie carried the ball. Back to the bowler and dropped it at his feet. "Cool dog," Bowler said. All the children clapped. She was Regina, Queen of the street once more. And she was happy once again. The end.